Hi everyone, I'm Kev Berry, and welcome to Fast and Furious 41, Dog Days of Summer Edition. Um, I am dog sitting a couple of blocks away from my house, so you might um, get a little special treat and get to see a gigantic yellow lab and a little small alien dog at some point across the course of the show. Uh, this is Fast and Furious. We're presenting this tonight under the auspices of the Cyber Tank. The Tank is the beautiful two-theater complex down on 36th Street, the New York City's home for emerging artists. And we're doing a lot of virtual performance-based stuff these days. So if you want to perform in next month's Fast and Furious, you can email me at kev, at thetanknyc.org, and I'll be happy to put you on the list. And I can connect you with Megan and Danielle if you'd like to make some virtual theater of your own, virtual performance of your own, virtual dance of your own, virtual storytelling, virtual puppetry, virtual whatever. And so this is the 41st edition of Fast and the Furious. The Fast and the Furious is our rapid responses to current events. So everything that you're going to see in in the evening tonight, it's a little bill tonight. It's a little bit smaller than normal. Everything you are about to see was made in the last week, in the week leading up to tonight, in response to the headlines of the week. So everything was made very fast, very furious, very scrappily, very angrily. There's a lot to be angry at. Here's Woodrow. Here's one of the dogs that I'm sitting for. Say hi, Woodrow. Isn't he great? Um, and yeah, so we only have 6 people tonight, so we have a short and sweet show for you. So we're just going to get started right away with David Lawson with Bargaining, Wondering, Comparing.
I've been bargaining. I have been wondering when things are going to get better, and I've been comparing the United States to the rest of the world. First, the bargaining. I have been saying things like, what if we have a 6-month period where in that 6-month period, the amount of new infections and deaths are the same as just the last 7 days, but spread out over those 6 months. Then we're going to have some normalcy back into our lives, right? And it's going to be this better normalcy that we are all working towards, right? Because we might never get a vaccine. The best case scenario might be having that 6-month period that I just talked about, or at least that's what I hear from actual scientists, not just people who got a C in every science class they ever took, like I did. I've been hearing stuff like, well, the common cold, that is a coronavirus. We never had a vaccine for that. And we had this whole life before March 2020 that we all went out and lived. So that's been my bargaining. The wondering how soon it will all get better. I've been hosting this show at QED, a comedy club and theater here in Astoria, Queens. We do it every Saturday at 2 p.m. Show up, throw your name in the bucket, tell your true 5-minute story, plug, absolutely shameless plug. The show has been going really good, though. It's been great to perform for a live audience. Masks on, socially distanced, it doesn't matter. It's not Brady Bunch view on Zoom. It's real people that I'm performing for. And I've been thinking, though, when it gets cold out, that show at QED is going to end. And by the time it's cold out, we're not going to have indoors socially distanced theater, masks or not. I was recently going to volunteer for an absentee ballot volunteer shift at Queensborough Hall for a candidate that I wanted to win. They were running to the left of an incumbent, by the way, and they won, by the way. Always nice when that happens. But I didn't go to this volunteer shift. I did not want to spend hours and hours inside in a room with a couple dozen other people, masks on or not. I didn't feel comfortable. Because I've been loving doing these virtual shows. And yes, I do wish we were all above 36th Street at the Tank together right now. But even in the fall, even if we get that 6 months that I'm like bargaining for here, I don't think we're going to be showing up to the live theater. And even if we get that scenario, I don't know if I'm going to be comfortable showing up at the Tank, socially distanced, masked on, indoors. I just don't know. So that's been the wondering when things are going to get better. And third, I have been comparing the United States with the rest of the world. Up until a few years ago, I was not a very well-traveled person. I had spent about 95% of my life in the space in between the southern part of the Capital Beltway, right outside Washington, D.C., and the BQE running through the outer boroughs here of New York City. I've been trying to improve this, though. In 2018, I went to Ireland. Last year, I went to Italy. A few months from now, I was going to go to Japan. Alas, not happening anymore. I always had this beef against really well-traveled people saying things like, oh, I want to live in this nation instead of the United States, and this nation instead of the United States, mainly because I often hear that from well-to-do white folks saying they want to live somewhere like Sweden. Then I would say to them, oh, you want to live in a nation that's 97% white. I see how it is. And then I would watch them squirm. But more than ever in my life, I have been wanting to live in a place with a smaller, more centralized government, like Ireland, like Italy, like Japan, like so many nations, a nation that could also have the diversity and the great immigrant roots that the United States has. Most immigrated to nation in the world today is still here. Though I wish the United States did have the equality of a nation that I don't even think exists yet. But I wish we had things like, everybody put your masks on. This is coming from up top. Everybody wash your hands. We have a unified message on this. Here's your $600 every single week, because we understand that it's not decentivization to work. Maybe I got a C in English too, decentivization. But it's not decentivizing you to work. We understand that your job is gone because of the pandemic. And if you have been feeling those things, that bargaining, that wondering when things are going to get better, that comparing to the rest of the world, then I just want to say the three words that I think so often watching Fast and Furious shows at 36th Street and here online. Those three words being, you're not alone.
Okay, all right. Thank you, David. David is one of our Fast and Furious stalwarts. He opens the show very frequently. Like I said in the chat box over on the right side of your screen, I've listed the artist Venmos here. So if you like what you see, you can shoot the artists a few dollars. David's was at Lawson Onstage. And we're just going to keep going with Emery Schaefer.
The year was 2020. And how did I feel? Horny. But that's unrelated. The day the news broke was a day much like today. I was 24. There was a pandemic, I think. One day, I picked up my phone only to see that the critically acclaimed HBO drama series Succession had been nominated for 18 Emmy Awards. What I didn't know is that Succession was about to become the real pandemic all along. After months of swatting off suggestions of, watch this show, you'll love it, and this is such a good show, I finally caved. It started slow, just like every good romance. I dipped my toe in to test the temperature, and oh, did I like it. It's mostly improv, I told my father as he passed me, languishing on my chaise in the corner. It was almost too much to bear. Almost. Before I knew it, I had watched both seasons in the span of a week, maybe less. And there was no turning back for me. I had been taken, plucked from my once sheltered life that consisted of Gilmore Girls and The Office, and thrown into the world of Waystar Royco, injected into the Roy family drama. I was the fifth Roy child, as far as I was concerned. No, you're not, my mother said. Yes, yes, I am. That's when the dreams began. Imagine me, your grandmother, lying on a freshly tuned piano. Kendall enters the room. He does a line of coke off my clavicle, which is protruding. We make love for hours and hours following. Roman walks in. He's talking, which is annoying. I shut him up by kissing him, then slapping him, then kissing him again. Shiv and I go out for brunch. We're best friends. She orders avocado toast, I do the same. We plan my bachelorette party to my future husband, her brother Kendall. You know, the one who did coke off my body about 2 seconds ago. I was able to get him into an incredible rehab facility that changed his life, and now we're getting married. Shiv is going to be my sister. She plans our entire wedding, which is insane considering her hectic and sexy life. Tom stands there, looking stupid as usual, but in a Tom way that I find absolutely adorable. Kendall and I wed atop Arthur's Seat in Scotland. Not without drama, of course. His ex-wife, Rava, tries to overthrow the whole thing. Kendall looks in her eyes and says, Rava, I'm a new person now. Emery is my one and only. Then he throws her off a cliff. We wed approximately 8 minutes later. Logan Roy embraces me. You are my favorite daughter, he says. He kisses me on the forehead. I die on the spot. Now I know what you're wondering now. Do I want the Roy family throne all to myself? Do I want to share it with my husband? The answer to both is no. I've always been an unassuming woman with simple wants and needs. I'll be happy simply lounging in the penthouse I live in, having nothing to do with the company. I'll get fat. I'll be happy. So where was I when Secession was nominated for 18 Emmy Awards? I think the better question is, where wasn't I?
All right. So that was Emery, Emery Schaefer. Thank you, Emery. Next up, we have a dispatch from Denver from my sister, Bridget Berry, and this is a PSA from a sedentary dumbass.
It's come to my attention lately that I am not as smart as I used to be. I used to be politically active and intelligent, and now I'm just a sedentary dumbass. I went away to focus on myself for a year, and now I have no idea what the fuck is going on or what's going to happen. But one thing that I do know, y'all, we gotta cut it out with the plastic. I read a study over the weekend about the critical need to stop plastic from entering our oceans, and as a depressed person, I must say it sent me into a spiral. Did you know that plastic waste is entering our oceans at a rate of 11 million tons a year? Aquamarine is rolling in her grave. I tried to calculate how many pounds that is, and my poor little iPhone couldn't handle it, but how did we get here? Plastic was invented in 1907, and it's pretty well known that this material can take over 1,000 years to break down, right? So think about that. Every toothbrush you've ever used is still on this earth. Every phone case you've ever gotten rid of, every sushi takeout container, every piece of plastic that has ever been made hasn't even begun to decompose, and it's destroying our planet in incomprehensible ways. We all use plastic products every day. Some are reusable, but most are not. Yet there are a few measures in place to regulate their use and actually manage their disposal. And I'm gonna be blunt here, throwing something into a recycling bin doesn't mean shit. Unless you are actually taking your plastic to the nearest recycling plant and disposing of it there yourself, it is extremely unlikely that your iced coffee cup won't end up in a landfill or worse, the ocean. Recycling's expensive. So expensive that most cities can't afford to build a plant or the resources to get all of the disposed recyclable items to one, resulting in alarming rates of landfill capacity and ocean pollution. So what do? We take ambitious action that we cannot afford to be lazy about. The government is not likely to get involved here, and even if it did, those commitments would only reduce the amount of plastic ending up in the ocean by about 7%. We need the collective to change their mindset in many ways. Plastic is cheap and convenient, and alternatives aren't usually cheap, and using them isn't always convenient. But the one way to cut down on our own use of plastic is to practice. Invest in a tumbler that keeps things hot and cold for your coffee or water. If you're going out for a meal, bring your own container to take home leftovers. Carry an extra set of utensils with you to avoid using disposable ones. Are these things convenient? Not exactly, no. But if we all did them, it would make a huge difference. Find out about your city's recycling and composting resources. Find a local refill shop for unpackaged goods like shampoo, toothpaste, deodorant, detergent, body wash, and for the love of God, stop putting your produce in plastic bags at the grocery store. You are going to wash those tomatoes anyway. I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but I know that looking at an issue like this, like police brutality, like racism, like sexism, like having an orangutan for president makes me feel very small and very helpless, especially knowing that there is not one single solution for any of these problems. But we can all do something. Try to replace one plastic item you use a day. A week, even. Start small, study up, sign petitions, and do your part. 'Cause you might like getting choked, but sea turtles don't. So keep your fucking plastic out of the ocean.
Okay, great. All right, thank you, Bridget. Next up is me. This is called Creep. Sorry. This is called Creep. I had a sordid affair with an extremely hot doctor a few weeks ago. I say it was specifically an affair because it had terms and they were strict. The Canadian doctor I was having an affair with was leaving the city, moving out of the city, out of the country, back to Canada. And I knew that when I met him, so I said we are going to have a beautiful sordid affair. And at the end of our intense sordid affair, he gave me a beautiful copy of A Little Life, which is torture porn in novel form, but I think the writing is beautiful. Sorry, gays. The dogs are fighting now that I'm watching. Anyway, he's in Canada now. Hey! Hey! Thank you, boys. Sit down. This is the Orange Terror Cycle Part 3, Chapter 41, and I'm going to keep this brief because I forgot I had to write this until today. I was talking to a friend this morning on Twitter DMs, whatever the phrase is, and I was telling her how weird this all feels, how weird it all feels again, because March and April in New York were apocalyptic, and May and June were slightly less scary as the sirens began to silence and spread, and as people began to test the waters of leaving their homes to explore what the new world looked like, to see what the subway would be like with the new rules in place. And last month, July, as the city began to emerge in its new form, with mostly everyone following the rules, the exception, of course, as always, straight white men who are too tall for me to realistically reprimand publicly because they might hit me. So I just go quietly, I go meekly, I say, "Where's your fucking mask, man, behind my mask? Where's your fucking mask?" And they never hear me. And then as soon as it hit August on Friday, the city sort of settled into this weird sense, this weird haze of, I don't know what to call it, but like dread? Dread again? We returned to dread. My friend who I was DMing this morning, she said, it's exhaustion. It's been 5 months of this and we're all tired of it. We're all tired. It's fucking hard because it's fucking hard. And in the back of my head, I know it's only a matter of time before another shutdown, but in my heart, I'm so desperately clinging on to the idea that because we did it right first here in New York, we won't have to deal with the resurgence of the whole thing, because I'm already freaking out watching the rest of the country go through what we survived 5 months ago. And I'm watching them go through it in this sense of, we're stuck here for a while, huh? Creeps through me, creeps through my veins, and it creeps into the part of my brain that controls my anxiety, controls my, oh geez, I'm having a panic attack, that controls the part of my brain that makes me think panic attacks are heart attacks. And what it really is I'm tired. And I probably talked about it before in earlier chapters about this section of the book we're living through, but it's like, a bones deep tired now. I was out on Fire Island for 2 weeks, and it was extremely relaxing and wonderful. But in the back of my head, there was that constant worry about job applications and fellowship applications, and did I tweak my neck? I sleep fitfully because of all these tasks, all of these anxieties, wake up tired, and then I'm up late the next night writing or worrying, and the cycle continues on, and I wonder how long it's going to continue before any of us get to truly relax again. Will my trip to Fire Island next summer still hold the same certain amount of tension? My shoulders relaxed a bit out there, and I wasn't constantly worried about anything. Constantly worried about anything. In fact, I was mostly relaxed because I was there to celebrate my sobriety. But there were these creeping moments, taking a break from reading my book or looking at the ocean or wondering what to get for lunch, where it would hit me. It wasn't like I was returning to a sure thing, right? I was taking a break from moving forward in a terrifying unknown. I had a great time out there, but only to return from vacation to keep moving forward in the same terrifying unknown. I had a great time, but as soon as I came back, Jesus, it was rough. It was a horrible week. And then, the creeping sensation of watching your nation slide into what seems like come October will be a dictatorship led by a fascist, so comically incompetent it feels like it's ripped off from a Marx Brothers film. I found myself saying a lot lately, a lot more frequently lately, that I don't want to talk about him. And I don't want to talk about him anymore. It's just so upsetting. I mean, the man is very unwell, clearly, and hates a lot of people. So I don't want to talk about him, but in my assertion aloud of not wanting to talk about him, I make the entire remainder of the conversation about him. I could be dining at a sidewalk cafe somewhere up here in the Heights, and I could say, no, let's not talk about him, let's look at the menu. And then while deliberating over whether or not I want French toast or quiche, the subtext running through my head is entirely about how much I'm looking forward to the day I get to read his obituary. And I wonder how dour my mood tracker would be if I had the discipline to use one. What would the tracking line of the last 5 months look like? Would it gently soar up and down, or would there be spikes, or would there be fun trends, or would it all just creep along and highlight that I'm more miserable than I think I am, that we're all more miserable than we think we are? I don't know. I feel like that's where I'm at now. We've been doing this for a long time, and we still have a long way to go, right? There's so much we don't know. There's so much we can't know. There's so much we won't know for a while. It's fucking exhausting. And I'm fucking exhausted. All right, that's me. Next up, we have Celeste Kahn with Doug Hurley back again.
8:17 p.m. August 2nd, 2020. Doug Hurley here. No longer in space. Sorry, I could not get my camera to work on the International Space Station. They really should work on that, or maybe it's by design. Space was. Oh, wow! One word, Neowise. 2 words, Comet, Neowise. If you think you've got a good view on Earth, you have no idea. That will be what I imagine for eternity when I am engaged in intercourse. But it's so much more than that, too. I just made a splash landing. It was intentional. You may not realize that. I know it sounds bad. It really was not. It was quite fun. Communication was out for a bit, but that's actually supposed to happen. Thank you, Elon. What was not expected was all the other people who came to see us land. Well, they didn't come to see us. They happened to be in the area on their boats, and then they gathered. I mean, I suppose one might if you saw something flying out of the sky, but I would think the instinct would be to run in the other direction. But, they didn't. They came, and actually that's quite dangerous. I hope all those people are okay. Though when I saw them, I noticed they were all gathered in on these boats. They were getting quite close, and they were on these boats with people who couldn't possibly be in their immediate family, and none of them were wearing masks, and I thought, oh, good. I waited it out. But then I found out that was not the case. I hear that could not be farther from the truth, in fact. So, I really hope my son's school is not opening. My wife hasn't told me yet. I hope to go back to space soon. Perhaps with my wife and child. I don't think she would mind. Neowise would be very far away by that point. There is another flight in September. Maybe I can convince Elon to take 3 of these astronauts off and send me and my family. After all, they're hoping to do commercial flights to space. What a better way to test it? Hopefully we can just stay up there till November or January, or maybe somehow it'll get better. Anyway, now I just need to get the fuck out of Florida. As soon as I get home, I will be penning a letter to Neowise. They may be the only comet I have struck up a personal relationship with, but I hope not the last. Over and out. Hopefully see you in September.
I would die for Doug Hurley, and I would die for Celeste Kahn. All right, we are already at our last piece for the evening, and this is Travis with Seeds. And Travis sent me a new video that I was an updated video, so I hope this is the correct version. All right, I'll be right back.
Hi. 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 Hi.
Today my special guest with me is Bok Choy. This bok choy came from my local food co-op. And as I chopped it, I thought, what if I put it in some water? That wouldn't be so bad now, wouldn't it? Plants love water, they love light. What is this plant telling me? I don't know. Last year for Secret Santa I received this funky veg kit with seeds of a mysterious origin that I just put in soil.
A close look at a leaf shows that it is made of many tiny cells, and some of them appear to be green. Within each green cell are still smaller bodies, and within each body are the green specks that give a leaf its color. One such green speck seen through an electron microscope looks like this. It contains chlorophyll, the green substance essential for food making in a plant. No one knows precisely what role chlorophyll plays when a plant makes food, but no food making can take place without it.
If you could be any funky vegetable, what would it be? For me, I'd like to be sugar snap peas. If you could grow any funky vegetable, what would it be? I'd like to hear from your plants. Click the link in my Instagram bio, @HeyTravisTravis, and send me an audio interview with your plants.
All right. Okay, everyone. This is George. Okay. That is the end of Fast and Furious 41. I'm Kev Berry. Thank you for watching. If you would like to participate next month, you can email me again at kev, K-A-V, @thetanknyc.org. Otherwise, I am looking forward to seeing y'all again in September for next month's edition. All right, have a good one. Bye, guys.